design is over.
At some point, AI will definitely replace you, but it didn't really get more innovative. They're not gonna be the only thing that exists. CEO of AirBNB Brian Chesky said that recently on X. The world of design is changing, and if you want to stay relevant, you really should keep up. Current UI design style have become pretty boring and uninspiring. There's almost no innovation, no progression, and only the boring flat components. And even talking about flat design makes me pretty sleepy. Luckily, some bigger brands like AirBNB and Shopify are trying to bring design back to its creative roots, alongside a pretty big group of senior designers from all over the world that are sharing their experiments. Design is going in some very interesting directions. So you can either continue what you're doing right now and just be a design drag and dropper, just drag and dropping components in Figma all day, or you can explore some new directions and actually push the industry forward and just explore those new frontiers. It's your choice, but look at this.
I wanna sip of the drip, watch out when they getting too close. Hey, turn it up, cause I come and cut. Say, don't you interrupt, everybody watch me. Gonna level up, no you cannot touch me.
Design got boring. We had icons like that, and now we're getting icons like that. Small works of art that get an emotional response. We had an interface element like this, and now we're exploring things like that. Flat design is over, but what does it mean? What is actually over here? Well, this little scenario. Press A, make a frame, add a border radius, add a color fill, add some text inside, make a component, auto layout it, and yeah, that looks kinda boring. Before the 2014 flat design revolution, actually making an interface required strong visual skills. You had to be able to work with skeuomorphic elements, so understanding texture, lighting, shadows, and everything else that basically makes an interface visual and interesting. Flat design with its simplicity allowed people with no visual skills whatsoever that previously used to do just the gray wireframes now do UI as well. But if you don't have that eye for visuals, everything starts looking the same, boring and ugly. Then around 2021, flat design became a little bit boring. People started to experiment with new ideas. I happen to have named a couple, like neumorphism and glassmorphism, and I wrote those very first articles about them and made them more accessible to designers so they're easier to learn. And the fact that these trends emerged and actually happened and we didn't continue with flat means that both the users and the designers are a little bit tired of flat design. And the main reason for staying with flat design is obviously design systems. Design systems are a way to save money by enforcing consistent, reusable, and easy to access building blocks that you just drag and drop and make a design out of. Right now, the reality of most designers looks like this. They start in the morning, drag and drop components onto a canvas. Then at around noon they have some coffee and they drag and drop some more. They drag and drop some more, kind of forgetting what they're even building. And then they're looking at their design for a while, considering all the possible options, and understand that there aren't really any other options than the standard one, so they drag and drop some more. And then at 5 they go home. And some say that by speeding up those simple repetitive tasks like making a button, we can now focus on, problem solving, being creative, or doing things outside of the ordinary. And obviously that's bullshit. Design got boring visually, but it didn't really get more innovative. Companies copy entire flows and concepts and parts of information architecture from other products. They just say, take this feature over here, put it in our app, and slap our design system on it. We don't even try anymore. What you can try right now, though, is subscribing to the channel and hitting that like button. It really helps. And speaking of buttons, here is an overview of all the different kinds of buttons that are coming back in style, and flat design is only one of them. Take a look. So here we are in 2023, and some companies started to actually notice and realize that optimizing every step of the way to save money actually leads to products that are more boring and can lead to people not using them as much or not paying us as much money anymore. So all that optimizing was supposed to save you money, and in a way, it's just kind of costing you. Change is coming for good. We won't have a switch to one specific design style, but we're not gonna see flat design as the dominant thing anymore. We are starting to see skeuomorphic elements of all shapes and sizes being introduced and merged with traditional flat design. Best way to do it is sparingly, so don't go and make entire skeuomorphic designs with wooden backgrounds. That's not really gonna work nowadays. But make the most important button in your interface, like the one you use to book something or pay for something, stand out. Add a nice animation to it, make it stick out from the background, add a weird texture or a weird font, just make it interesting. Shopify introduced new, more skeuomorphic buttons into their design system, and obviously a lot of the designers, especially the flat advocates, decided to bash it. Like, it looks retro, it looks ugly, but you know what? It really doesn't matter what you think. What matters is that it instantly stands out, and seeing those buttons, people will associate them with Shopify. This is just a breath of fresh air, and I personally am not a fan of those specific kind of buttons, but I appreciate them trying. Then AirBNB said hold my dials and came up with this gem. It's just so satisfying to use and could have been a much simpler, cheaper and easier to code component. Then they added those little booklets that open up as you scroll and fully open on top. This is a beautiful experience. And sure, boring, repetitive, consistent, and drag and drop interfaces are still going to exist in the future, but they're not gonna be the only thing that exists. The paradigm is shifting towards creativity. Try new things, experiment, and have fun. I talked about it recently at a conference, and it's really interesting to see how it resonates with people. A lot of the designers are actually bored with the current design style, and they want something new. They want to try those new things. So basically, it's up to you whether you want to be a designer or a drag and dropper. But if you're gonna be a design system drag and dropper, then you can be pretty sure, especially since the flows are copied too, that at some point AI will definitely replace you. Because that job isn't even being a designer, it's just a Figma operator. If you want to prevent that, check the links in the description. So what are you going to do about it? Let me know in the comments. And I really hope you're gonna have a beautiful day.